back. I'ma make a move. 삶의 가치가 값도 없이 fall in love. 시작해버렸어. Body I can move.
Hi, Winter Rosie here. I always loved diving deep into a group's discography. Apart from entertaining, it's the sole reason why I even started this channel. I wanted to share my views and opinions on a lot of things in this genre, and so far it's been a great experience. Yet, only some groups can enable me to do so, and recently, there's this group who I've been keeping my eye out for even before they were officially announced. And yes, that group will be who this video is about. Even with all the criticism I've given them in the past, I can't deny they've hooked me more than anyone in this new wave of K-pop groups, and just new waves of artists in general. Ever since the beginning I always felt something different with this group. And no, it's not the music, but rather, their concept. And to be specific, their approach to this said concept. Their whole image boils down to this one phrase you've probably heard already. I'm fearless. It's a short phrase that has a lot of weight to it, and everyone behind this group has done a masterful job in laying it all for us. The messages, the themes, and the impact this group will leave in the industry all comes down to that one simple phrase. And today, we will be exploring this once-in-a-lifetime group's whole premise. Once again, my name is Winter Rosie, and I hope you enjoy the video. The genre of K-pop evokes a lot of messages. In general, the art of music has the power to express and display life-changing themes that can impact an individual. One recurring theme this genre is obsessed with would be love, and to be precise, the idea of loving oneself. I could name countless K-pop groups that have tackled or even mained the concept, and each one of them had something unique to offer, giving us a variety of takes on the subject. The theme of self-love, in my opinion, is one giant umbrella with many elements under it. And what makes SSERAFIM different is they don't just address the obvious interpretation of the word, but also, they see to all the underlying themes behind it. Self-esteem, self-respect, self-interests. There is a lot to consider when understanding the true significance of the word. And SSERAFIM has done a splendid job, showing us all the good, the bad, and the ugly. SSERAFIM makes a lot of bold statements throughout this journey of self-love and discovery. But if we were to condense their whole objective into one single line, "The world is my oyster" is definitely the one to define it all. The phrase was written by one of the greatest English writers ever, William Shakespeare, specifically from one of his works, The Merry Wives of Windsor, with the original phrase being, "The world's mine oyster." Though it has evolved through the ages, the meaning of it still stays the same. The expression "the world is your oyster" is frequently said to young people about to enter adulthood. It's simply a metaphor for life. In any oyster, though not guaranteed, there is a chance you will find a pearl. Come to think of the world as the oyster, and the pearls are the dreams we seek in life. Nothing is given to you for free. And unless you work hard for it, you will never find the pearl you wish. Immediately, we get the idea that you are free to achieve that dazzling life as the world is yours, and that you are free to discover it for yourself.
私は強くなりたい. I wanna take up the challenge. 나는 꺾이지 않아. I am fearless.
However, without risks, life wouldn't be worth living. Therefore you must have no fear as you embark on this new phase of your life. This essentially becomes this album, or rather, this group's main premise. And of course I'm talking about the whole I'm fearless saying. As stated, you have to be courageous to achieve the greater things in life. In their debut track Fearless, SSERAFIM makes it clear that to move forward in life you have to not be afraid of anything. Fear isn't something we can erase from human nature. It's been with us and will forever be with us. The true nature of being fearless doesn't necessarily mean having no fear of anything, but rather, acknowledging the fact that you are fearful of a lot of things, and using that to protect you and make the right decisions in the future.
관심 없어 과거에 모두가 알고 있는 거 trouble it, huh? I'm fearless, a new bitch, new crazy, all I got next one.
Most songs with a message like this usually go for a more loud bombastic anthem kind of sound. What I always loved about this song is that it remains largely monotonous all throughout. It represents this group's mindset and how they'll take on this world.
What you looking at? 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 I'm fearless.
Like a model, you walk straight down the runway with not a single disturbance, with no one to take you back, unless you want to. In life there are always choices to be made, and more often than not, there will be ones who'll be against it. We all know The Little Mermaid, right? I'm talking about both the Disney animated film and the original Danish fairy tale. Both have some similarities, but the way they conclude isn't the same. Most of us know the Disney version with Ariel leaving the ocean to be with her true love, which is truly a happy ending of course. In the original fairy tale though, things are more bittersweet. Though she does find her prince charming, that prince didn't love her back and falls in love with another woman. To save herself, she is given a dagger, in which she has a choice to put it through the prince's heart and grow her tail back and come home. But in the end, she makes the selfless decision to not do so, as she truly loved him.
아직 어설프게 익지 않은 grapes 아마도 내겐 때가 아닌 것 같아 뚜렷하게 아직 설익은 네 scent I'm feeling scared, yeah 눈물 나기 시큼한 맛 그런 게 만약 사랑이면 맛보고 싶지 않아 I just feel afraid Love it sour grapes
It might have turned out differently for both, but there is one thing they commonly achieved in the end. Freedom. And to be more specific, the freedom to choose your own path. The story of Ariel has been told in many ways, but not quite like this one. Usually there's always a prince present somewhere, but in SSERAFIM's rendition, there isn't one, or at least it was never about him. SSERAFIM breaks the cliché of princesses, or in this case the Little Mermaid having a prince to love. Though having someone to love is beautiful, they tell us that you don't need another person to feel this emotion, because you can do it freely with yourself. In this song, our Ariel doesn't sacrifice her voice and tails to go on land, but instead, embraces them more and leads a life she chooses on the vast ocean, making her not only live for others, but also for herself. And it's not saying previous Ariels were wrong for choosing life on land with the prince. Instead, this opens up a choice to the audience, that Ariel isn't a character solely binded by the prince, but rather she is free to make any decision in whatever way she wants. Little girls may watch The Little Mermaid and think that having a boy to love is all there is to life. However, The Great Mermaid presents a different perspective and alternate choice to this iconic character. And as she grows up, this little girl will choose one of the renditions of this character, or even better, be the Ariel of her own story. We don't live the same lives now, do we? We all have our own ways of thinking and evaluating, and that is our greatest freedom as a person. But despite this, there are still others who question our legitimacy. Just like Ariel, not everyone was behind the idea of her leaving the ocean to go on land. And no matter how you disregard their words, it will always exist and be present. You'd have to deal with it, and you'll let it either break you, or let it make you. That is for you to decide.
think I'm fragile? 私の首を切ってみて 어디 한번 날 부셔봐
'Do you think I'm bad?
그러면 날 추락시켜봐
If the Fearless album was all about confidence to do things and the freedom of choice, Anti-Fragile tackles the disturbances that come along with it. In a room full of people there will always be one doubter. In a room of two people both of them will doubt each other. And if there's only one person in a room they will have self-doubts. Like I said, it just comes, whether it's from yourself or from someone else. Life is full of challenges, and how you handle these challenges is what builds your character. And SSERAFIM encourages us to embrace who we are on this album. In comes the Hydra. Also called the Lernian Hydra, in Greek legend, is a gigantic water snake-like monster with 9 heads, one of which was immortal. And anyone who attempted to behead the Hydra found that as soon as one head was cut off, 2 more heads would emerge from the fresh wound. In the context of the album, what was meant to be expressed here is that for every act of hatred, impediment, or any other negative thing that was fired at them, they will instead be embracing it, because all of the pain and struggles are what makes us a stronger person. Cut off a limb, and 2 more shall take its place. The title track Anti-Fragile shares quite a similar message as well, just more motivational in a way. This song acts as encouragement for those who have hit a low point because of the demands of life, with a message that says they can grow and gain strength from tough times. This message can be said by anyone, but what makes this even more sincere is considering all the obstacles the members themselves have overcome. From Kazuha leaving her ballerina career behind, to Yunjin's tedious trainee period, to Sakura's retirement. And of course, the scandal that almost ruined their careers altogether. It is known that these girls have been through a lot, and so seeing them rise up over all that and standing up high on where they are right now, gives inspiration to many out there who may be lost.
있지만 내가 뜨거운 those shoes 무슨 말이 더 필요해 무심한 내가 걸어온 거리 I got to ride till I die die 어떤 높이 가줄게 내가 바랬던 세계 제일 위에 떨어져도 돼 I'm anti-fragile anti-fragile 난 지금 on my way 갚아버리죠 너의 fairy tale Now you know my name I'm anti-fragile anti-fragile
It is a bold message that can even be seen in the album's official cover. The gold design for Anti-Fragile is inspired from the kintsugi, or the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery, by mending them back together with gold. In embracing flaws and imperfections, you can create an even stronger, more beautiful piece of art. They didn't let their scars be proof of their weakness, but became a symbol, a reminder, that in all those times that they could have given up, they didn't. Which makes this song even more meaningful to the listener. And even with all that said, SSERAFIM has not once claimed they are perfect. To be honest, none of us are. All of us have been hurt, and all of us have done something wrong. The more we act like we're perfect, the more painful it will be to realize that we're not. What even is perfection anyways? The best version of yourself? Or the version everyone else says is the best? In the song No Celestial, SSERAFIM says goodbye to the mold of perfection created by society. People want you to act a certain way that pleases them, making one's self-growth in the hands of others, if you can even call it self-growth anymore. The trait of being perfect doesn't exist in any person, and SSERAFIM makes it very clear that they are no otherworldly beings, but instead they are just like us, just themselves as they want to be. Cutting off their wings, abandoning the fairy tale, to live their real life the way they want to live it, even if they know they will fall down to earth.
Just wanna show you everything 언제나 있는 그대로 믿어줘 No fear 난 이 순간 떨어져 down to earth I'm no fucking angel I'm no fucking goddess 난 나일 뿐이야 어지러운 세상 꼭 잡아줘 항상 Because you're by my side
So far SSERAFIM has been conveying messages through metaphors, imagery, and symbolism. But for the last song in the album, we are given one straightforward message. Love yourself. If there's anything consistent with any of us, that is we are prone to getting wounded, physically or emotionally. In this song, SSERAFIM literally tells us to love ourselves no matter what your weakness is. You should find the good things about yourself and love them, because the fact that you are unique is what makes you, well, you.
Pretend I'm fine. I just wanna let my
along with the simplistic nature of the song, SSERAFIM compares themselves to a Polaroid. Polaroids are unique for their soft and washed out images. Together with scratches and a contrasting look, it's basically everything that makes an imperfect image.
모든 게 섣불리 하나 빠른 Polaroid 그게 때로는 better than before kicking.
But those imperfections are what made Polaroids so popular to everyone, especially considering that you can never fully replicate them. We are all like Polaroid films. One that is unique to you and can never be copied, and that you and the people who love you will adore forever. Again, a very popular lesson that we've heard more than countless times. But it is one that SSERAFIM and most people out there will continue to say forever. Remember that at the end of the day, if everything and everything you know disappears, there will always be someone with you, and that is yourself. You don't breathe for other people, or smile for other people. You don't live for anyone else but yourself.
Cause I don't wanna blame my weakness 있는 그대로의 나를 사랑할래 화려했던 기대와는 달리 왠지 볼품없다 해도 love my bad parts, my bad parts.
And overall that is the message SSERAFIM has been telling us all this time. When we look at it as a whole, these two albums told us everything we needed to know. From embarking on the journey, to coping with naysayers along the way, to falling down multiple times and getting back up stronger. And finally, to understand truly what it means to love oneself.
실수해도 좋아, find the good parts.
Despite the fact that we've reached a conclusion, we've overlooked an important point in this character arc. The path may be difficult, but the most challenging part of it is that critical decision made before diving into this fearless life. We all come from somewhere different, but there will be a point for all of us to make that great decision. Do we stay comfortable with what we have? Or do we let the life we want? Do we give up? Or do we give in? These are questions that appear simple to answer, until you consider everything that follows, and you realize, you do not know what lies ahead of you. Uncertainty. Our greatest enemy of all. It is the only obstacle we must overcome to fully understand what it means to be fearless. Again, what makes SSERAFIM so great is how they integrate their real-life experiences with their concept. This concept didn't just pop out of thin air. If anything, this group was formed around the individual experiences of each member, and I believe it's time to acknowledge that. To me, this album isn't just a sequel, nor is this the grand ending to a trilogy. But rather, a prequel as well. Or to be more precise, a recollection, way back to that point where you have to make that important choice. And in the case of the members, it was the decision to be or not to be in SSERAFIM. Each of the members came from different backgrounds, but then the time came, and each one made the crucial decision to be in this band, which all led us to this point right now. But it wasn't just a simple yes and no. There were circumstances that had to be considered from both their past and what will come in the future. Again, uncertainty. And for this concept, each member represents some of our greatest worries regarding making life-changing choices. Change. Change is inevitable. You and everything that surrounds you will change no matter what you do. So why is it so hard to accept it? The challenge heavily revolves around adapting to it, and that goes with how you and how the people around you do it. A sudden change in one's lifestyle is uncomfortable, unsettling even. This new life could be too challenging for one, leading to not wanting to risk what they already have. Stereotypes. Assumptions are conclusions we believe to be the truth. Stereotypes can often prove to be damaging to a lot, especially to an individual. To assume that someone is something that they are not is, in essence, to make a false assumption about that person. Basically not thinking of them as a human capable of living their own way. A faceless person whose existence is predicated solely on the opinions of other people. The great fear of the unknown. Being concerned about what you might meet on your journey. Changing yourself is not the same as changing your surroundings, and it takes a lot of courage to adapt to it. The place that built your character may not be the same as the one you'll be living in. This new environment will change the person you are. And depending on how you take it and how it takes you, it will be for the better. Or unfortunately, it could be for the worst. Attention. Many people want it, but many others despise it. The thought of every single eye on you might be unnerving. There will be many who await your triumph, but there will also be those who await your downfall. Every move you make must be perfect, because they will not hesitate to attack if they see an opportunity. You yearn to spread your wings and be seen, but the fear of being caught, judged, or handled with too heavy a touch makes you hesitate, keeping you hidden among yourself. And lastly, the most heartbreaking one. People who have failed before are the most afraid of failing again. They understand what it's like to be at the lowest point in their lives. There is no worse sensation than being lost and lacking the energy to push through, because failure breaks the ego. Even if you claim that failing makes you stronger, you will almost certainly feel horrible about yourself. And too much of it will eventually ruin you. These are some of the most significant fears brought about by settling on a decision, and are ultimately the cause of our hesitation to venture into the unknown. Rather than a lack of confidence, it is our fears that truly prevent us from beginning a new chapter in our book. We tend to dwell too much on what could be, and never on what it should be. Thus, preventing us from ever growing as a person.
나에 대한 확신이 있다. 자신감. 내가 결정했을 때 후회하지 않을 거라는 확신.闇は私を追い詰めて答えを強要する。諦めるか従いなさいと。
The final intro, Burn the Bridge, talks about the difficulty of the situation in the face of making that bold choice. Between the dark past and the unknown future, there is only one clear answer. And that is to move on forward. And as anticlimactic as it may sound, that is exactly what all this is about. Fear, as I previously stated, will never leave us, and the best way to deal with it is to overcome it. You don't defeat fear, because you can't. But you can overpower it, and once you do, that is how you'll know you've achieved true fearlessness. The monologues in this track discuss burning the bridge behind you, and using the light of the fire to navigate the dark land. Use the past to guide you through a new chapter in your life, to learn from the mistakes you've made, and show the world you are now ready to accomplish great things. This new world will not decide who you are, rather, you will decide for yourself who you want to be. The future may be uncertain, but you are not. Comparable to a blank canvas, where you play the role of the artist and are free to paint whatever you like on it. Living a liberated life allows you to explore your passions and follow your dreams. But most of all, it allows us to discover the true best version of ourselves. With no holds barred, you make your own path and experience a sense of fulfillment. Living a life that is truly your own, one in which you are not liable to others for the choices you make. The burden of unforgiveness for following your passions can be heavy. It's suffocating, like carrying the entire world on your shoulders, preventing you from freely pursuing your ambitions. The looks of disapproval, the whispers of disagreement, and the critical comments stay with you, and they slowly weaken your spirit. In spite of this disheartening predicament, there is a spark of resolve. A rebellious spark that won't go out. It talks to you, telling you to break away from the rules of society and follow your real dreams.
I'm a mess, 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 mess. I'm a mess, 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 mess. I'm a mess in distress, but we're still the best. Dress fearless, say yes. We don't dress to impress.
Not only is it catchy as hell, but it also has the potential to be the most meaningful song the group has made. The song references 3 mythological female figures: Eve, Psyche, and Bluebeard's wife. These characters share a common trait of curiosity that eventually leads to their misfortune. Eve, who was told not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge, was tempted by a talking serpent to eat it. Psyche, who Aphrodite was jealous of because of her beauty, was tasked to travel the underworld to retrieve a golden box that was full of beauty. And then Bluebeard's wife, who was given the key to open any room full of her husband's riches, except for an underground chamber where she was forbidden to enter. Out of curiosity, each of the three did what was forbidden to them. In Eve's case, along with Adam and the serpent, eats the forbidden fruit, then is all punished and banished by God. Then Psyche, who opens the box and discovers that it wasn't full of beauty, but rather a cloud of darkness that puts her into a deep sleep. And then Bluebeard's wife, who opens the chamber only to find 6 corpses of Bluebeard's previous wives.
웃어다 인형이 되렴 덮어다 감정 따윈 다 시도 난 인형이 아니야 찡그린데도 그것도 나야.
All of these characters' stories represent society's perception that women are susceptible to control, and should do what they are only told. Or even, this could be a metaphor for how female idols are treated in the K-pop industry. You aren't really respected in this industry unless you are what the public wants to see. They treat you as a doll where they play dress up on you however they want. A made-up criteria of how an idol should look like, act like, and be like. And whenever they do something differently, they will receive hatred for it as if it were the worst thing a human can do, despite the fact that it is not. Because like these 3 characters, these idols aren't responsible for their own demise, but rather the ones who restrict them into societal norms.
What you waiting for? 이게 따라가면 we far. What you looking for? 원한다면 now we fall.
The 3 women indeed got punished, but in the end they uncovered the truth they were forbidden to see. Eve gains knowledge of both good and evil. Psyche discovers that Aphrodite has always mistreated her, and Bluebeard's wife finds out the true and evil nature of her husband. And in conclusion, they all got to live their life by their own will. Now with no restrictions whatsoever, they can now discover life's greatest and worst secrets by themselves, and that is when you achieve true control over your life. Any woman, idol, heck just any person, shouldn't ask forgiveness for the choices they themselves make, because we believe in our capacity to navigate our lives and take responsibility for our decisions. Having this mindset gives us the power to be our true selves and live life on our own terms. Which now leads us to Unforgiven, a song about being careless and immature with how you live life. Now I don't think SSERAFIM actually means to live life that way, but if we were not to take this song literally, the meaning of it is pretty much what we've been talking about this whole video. This is your life, and not anyone else's. Or in other words, you should not give a single flying fuck about anything else other than you. Destroy the taboos. Break all the rules. Ignore the norms. You know, that type of message. They've experienced the worst, but still they fought and rode on. And that is essentially the conclusion of this trilogy. One message emphasizes the importance of making a decision to alter your life, while another emphasizes the burden that comes with making that life-changing choice. With its inescapable ups and downs, difficulties, and uncertainties, life is indeed difficult. However, we must keep in mind that we are not the only ones suffering through it at this time. We get comfort and strength in knowing that we can rely on one another for support, by accepting the idea that others have gone or are going through comparable struggles. In the face of life's challenges, banding together and lending an ear that listens or a helping hand, we may offer support. You do not need to go through the world alone. There are people who are able to lend a hand. Because the fact is, you are not alone. In this grand trilogy of albums, SSERAFIM invites us to cross that line and come to that faraway land, where all your dreams and passions live through and exist. I know the conclusion we've made till this point was you are the writer of your own story and you don't live for anyone else. But there's more to it. It might be contradictory to say this phrase right now, but it is an important one. You are not alone. It may sound like a counter-argument to what we've already established, but to be honest it isn't, because both coexists with one another. You don't live for anyone else shows how important it is to live a life that is true to yourself, and not just based on what other people want or expect. It stresses how important it is to put one's own happiness, hobbies, and goals first and not worry too much about what other people think. On the other hand, you are not alone in this world reminds us that we are all part of an enormous community of people, who make our lives more comfortable and who walk this earth with us. It serves as a reminder that we can find support, friendship, and understanding through our relationships with other people. Because just like you and me, many out there are lost, hurting, and are in need of help.
잠든 그물에 뱃속 깊이 꿈도 다 사라질 어둠까지 밝은 너와의 fire 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 맘속에 감춰왔던 prende fuego till we go letting go.
The name SSERAFIM isn't a brand name, nor is it a name specific to someone or a group of people. SSERAFIM is no more than an idea. The reason why many fans and idols alike adore this group is because of how self-assured they are, both in their life and art. And when you've reached a certain point where you know you're in control of your own life, you yourself can be SSERAFIM. These girls aren't just members of a girl group. They serve as role models for everyone, idols to a generation, who aspires to be the best possible version of themselves.
너 내 동료가 되라.
SSERAFIM assures us that if they can do it, you as well can. Some take longer than others, some may have it harder than others, but at the end of the day you don't walk alone. SSERAFIM shows us how it is to be yourself, how to decide for yourself, and how to overcome the fears you have to be the best version of you. Now that they've taught us, they reach out their hand in hopes that we have finally decided to embark on this odyssey we call life. However, much of this still depends on the path you choose to take. They are going to keep attempting to walk you through the process. But in the end, it is entirely up to you. Because it is your life and you are the one who gets to make these decisions. That is the true power of choice.
아, 나 눈물 나.